Ladies and gentlemen, as the rest of the folks are getting seated, please allow me to introduce myself. I'm Russell Rittenauer, United States Air Force, 91st Bomb Wing, 1962 to 1966. And I wish we could do this at least once a month. It's a Now, I promise you I'm not going to sing. If you look at your program tonight, you'll see that the next agenda is a song, but I've kind of interjected myself into this. And the reason I'm up here tonight is to talk to you about a very special thing that's near and dear to my heart. And I've given it the subject, a war hero, my friend, or my friend, war hero, either way. And I want to tell you this story so that you know and appreciate at least one individual that you now know of that has served our country. And by the way, before we get going, if you think about July 4th, 1776, we really do everything by dates in our history. And all of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, if you would look and see how many of those people later were persecuted for that, you'd be absolutely amazed. So if you get a chance, please do that. Okay, on and on. Let's talk now about my friend. My friend was born of Mexican immigrant parents. They were fruit pickers. He was born here in the United States, and he also worked on the fruit farms, picking and in the orchards. But at the age of, when he was in the 4th grade, his father passed away, and as a result of that, he had to quit school and start working to support the family. So he got to the 4th grade, that was it. So for the next 12 years or so, he basically had to do that. He had to work and support himself. In 1943, as you know, the war was starting or going on. He was at the age then where he could enlist, and he did. He signed on with the United States Army. They trained him as a medic, and he then was deployed to go to Europe, and he went to England. But what they didn't do is train him to drive as an ambulance driver, as a medic. They didn't train him to drive. That's the military for you. Anyway, he got into England and was staged, and sure enough, on D-Day, he was a part of the large group. It's the largest assemblance of military people ever to converge on a landmass. And I think I have the number, I can't remember. It's 150,000 troops actually were in that entourage, and they landed on Omaha Beach, Sword Beach, you all know the names, Utah, on and on. But he was a medic. He did not carry a weapon. Medics did not carry weapons, but his job was, once he got there, was to start, after the initial assault, was to go in and then start taking the troops who were wounded, injured, or unfortunately killed, off the beaches and back into the ships, which they would then be sent back to England for disposition back there. So that was a big part of his work. From there, then, he went inland. He was active in Belgium and in France and in Germany. As an ambulance driver, believe it or not. So he didn't have the training in the Army to do it, but he had to learn on the job to drive an ambulance, and that was difficult for him, but he did. And he saved possibly hundreds, possibly thousands of lives. And the interesting thing about this is that when soldiers were wounded, they would stage them where a red flag was, and they would then call the ambulance drivers in. They would come in and pick them up. Well, it's not only American wounded and dead that they picked up, but they also picked up German or other adversaries as well, and took them to the field hospitals for treatment. So that's something I didn't know, but that's the way it was. He had 16 people, 16 medics in front of him that lost their lives, and so he was the lucky one. He never got shot. His ambulance did get shot, but he didn't. And so he was able to survive the war and moved throughout those 3 countries, Belgium, France, and Germany. On April 29th, 1945, he was with the 42nd and 45th Divisions in the Army. Those of you who know about this, you will be very interested. This was the liberation of the Dachau concentration camp. and he was one of the first into that camp. There were 42,000 people in the camp. Now, interestingly enough, they weren't mostly Jewish. They were Polish and, believe it or not, Germans, people of religious conviction. Many, many Catholic leaders in Europe were imprisoned in this camp. And the sights they saw there were just appalling. And so his job was to delouse. They had the women and the men separated, delouse the women's unit and prepare them for shipment out of that area. So he was there 3 months, and at that time, they interred the former guards. They put them in prison, and then his job was to treat not only the German guards, but the Americans who were there as well. So he spent 3 months in Dachau prison helping those people. Once they deployed out of there, he went through Onin to Germany and helped liberate, and was there all the way in through the war. And for his bravery and work in the European theater, he was awarded not one but 2 Bronze Stars as well as numerous other awards. He had, after the war, he tried to get the 2 Bronze Stars. Unfortunately, there was a fire in the warehouse that destroyed the records. He was not able to get them. Luckily, I was able to go in with the miracle of the computer and find the records and retrieve them. And tonight, for the first time in 55 years, he will see these stars. So it's an honor that he served with us. He came back home. He married his beautiful wife, Mary, of 60 years. She's there with us. He represents everything that our country stands for, ladies and gentlemen, and like many others from the other countries, he helped to save us from the dominance of the Nazi Germany. So he's one of the millions who served. 419,000 of them did not come home. So we owe all of them our profound gratitude. And I'd like to, again, thank him personally. Thank the United States for the privilege of living here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you now to Mr. Bob Cruz. Bob, come up here. Bob does not know that we were going to do this to him. This is a surprise.
I'm not a person of too many words, but all I can say is that I'm very proud to serve my country and to make it back. Thank you all.